Welcome one and all. I'd like to begin our practice today, friends, with the sentiment of metta. Metta is loving kindness. Loving kindness is one of the 4 limitless qualities that we cultivate in a Buddhist practice. Loving kindness arises in the body and mind, not only in how we treat one another, but how we treat ourselves, our bodies, our spirits, our minds. This is a beautiful painting painted by one of our community members who sent this to me. And on the back, I wrote this sentiment of loving kindness. It reads, "May you choose it all. May you choose it all." Take a deep breath with me, friends, if that feels comfortable to you. And let's just allow that sentiment to come in as a first person sentiment. May I choose it all. And just notice what arises for you. And the first thing that arose for me almost instantly was this very adolescent mind and voice that goes, but I don't wanna. I just want to choose the good stuff. I don't want to choose anything that's hard or challenging or upending or painful. Ugh. But the Buddhist practice reminds us that we are courageous beyond imagining. We are capable beyond imagining, and we can choose it all. We can stand before whatever life has to throw at us with bravery and honesty, with humility, and a keen awareness to allow it to be yet a source of awakening. What are we awakening to? We are awakening to this precious human life. And within a precious human life, there is both goodness and bad, both darkness and light, both ease and challenge, both peace and chaos. I will choose it all. Allow yourself to arrive fully to this time, this moment. And please offer yourself some gentleness. So, if right now you're recognizing that maybe sitting is a little bit challenging, it's a little uncomfortable, maybe you're not used to sitting on the floor cross legged, go ahead and lie down. Put yourself in a different posture and allow your body to be held by the floor or a couch or the bed and just relax. The journey of recovery is a lot of hard work, and we almost never give ourselves enough time to rest. This is that time. On Wednesdays, friends, we have been exploring a book. It's called The Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, written by Shantideva. Shantideva was an 8th century monk. He was a student at Nalanda University, the world's only Buddhist university in ancient time. And through his studies, he developed a map, what he considered a map, a guide to a way of life that he aspired to have. It was motivated by a recognition that there is so much misery in the world, there is so much suffering. There are tyrants and peasants. There are people who seem to have everything who are miserable. And there are people who have nothing who seem happy. There are people who have nothing who are also miserable. There are people who, even in his time, who didn't have enough food, who didn't have healthy water, who were victims of trauma, tragedy, war, the human condition. And he wanted to understand it well enough in himself so that he could become an instrument, a vehicle by which he could help alleviate the suffering in others. So he created this work, and it reads like a very long poem. And we've taken many, many months to read through it. And we're still reading through it. We're on chapter 7. Chapter 7 is called Relying on Effort. Waking up to understanding ourselves doesn't just happen. We have to show up to it. We have to make an effort. In modern times, we hear words like choice. I want to make good choices. In the Buddhist tradition, the response to that is, well, that's great. Make good choices. But what happens when we make bad choices? What do we do with that? Do we beat ourselves up with it? Do we pretend it didn't happen? Do we ignore the consequences and the harm that we've created in others and ourselves? Or do we use that information, that regret, that shame, that guilt, that pain? Do we use that as fodder, as material to help us gain access to a deeper understanding so that next time we can choose differently? That's the practice. And that's why we're here. So today, I'd like to read just a few verses from this chapter, Relying on Effort, and see what Shantideva has to say. He writes, "It is said that even flies, bees, gnats, and all other insects and animals can attain the rare and unsurpassed state of enlightenment through developing the power of effort. So why should I, who am born a human and who understands the meaning of spiritual paths, not attain enlightenment by following the Bodhisattva's way of life? Why would I choose that?" He's asking. Some people might be discouraged out of fear, he says, of having to sacrifice their flesh, but this is due to not understanding what we should give or when. In our previous lives, over countless eons, we have been cut, stabbed, burned, and flayed alive innumerable times, but we have not achieved anything from these hardships. Yet the hardships we must forbear to attain enlightenment are insignificant compared to these. It's like enduring the lesser suffering of surgery so as to stop a greater pain. Let's leave it there. Remember, this is a voice from ancient times. This is a voice from a time of Violence, great violence. In some ways, today, this time is not so different. We see hostility, we see aggression, we see violence. And he's reminding us this echo from the past. He's reminding us, wow, with this precious human life, we're still asleep to the wonder of life, to its nobility, to its majesty, its mystery. We're still putting aggression and hostility in the world. We're still allowing aggression and hostility toward ourselves. And yet, to practice, to awaken, to stand before all of this negativity, that alone is a very difficult task. And if we don't do it, we'll suffer worse, he says. That's the metaphor he's using by needing to go through a painful surgery in order to alleviate a worse situation. So by coming into meditation, by coming into quieting the mind, looking at our own misconduct, looking at our own unskillfulness, looking at all the ways we're dishonest, looking at all the ways we've put harm into the world, standing before all of that with great courage. That is a necessary thing to do if we don't want to suffer worse. That's the invitation. He goes on a little later to remind us that the beauty of the Buddhist practice is we don't have to bring in any more harm. We can put down the weapons of internal warfare and we can pick up these new tools. And they might feel really weird and awkward because guess what? They're soft, they're gentle. And we might not trust them because we're not used to them. We're used to sharp, cutting blades. And this approach of self examination, self awareness, self acceptance requires a tool that is much slower, much softer, much more curious, much more playful. And surprisingly, that may make a person really uncomfortable and suspicious. To which I would say, would you look at that? That feels weird to be nice to myself, to be kind to myself, to say encouraging things, to forgive myself. That's what we're being invited to do. So, let's create a little silence. And in that space of silence, together as a community, let's collectively just bring forward a regret, something we've done that we wish we hadn't, and let's stand before it and acknowledge it without judgment, without reproach. And instead of saying, oh, God, I can't believe I did that, we can say instead, I did that. I'm going to learn from that. Breathing in, this is my regret. Breathing out. I did that. I'm going to learn from that. Breathing in. This is my regret. Breathing out. I did that. I'm going to learn from that. Breathe in and out, creating space so we can see this clearly. We can see the regret, the conditions of it, and we can see what it is we need to learn so that we don't engage in that same misconduct or that same unskillfulness again and do something different. We all have the capacity to do this. And according to Shantideva, we are invited to at least try. Enjoy this time to reflect and breathe. Friends, as you so bravely stand before yourself, and as I've stood before myself, I can't help but notice every once in a while I get this voice that's like, ugh, this, God, Julia, when are we going to learn this? I can't believe we have to go through this again. And I am reminded that that's a voice of impatience. I'm not always patient with myself. And so the Buddhist practice is always encouraging me to recognize that. Oh, there's my impatience again. How can I apply its opposite, which is patience? And sometimes, I'm going to be honest with you, sometimes I need a drill sergeant. I need somebody barking at me like, Julia, get it together. Come on, you got this. Do it. But not every time, not every situation, not every regret, not every unskillful thing that I've done responds well to someone barking an order at me. Sometimes I need a voice that's softer, more encouraging, more nurturing. It's okay, Julia. You did that. Yeah, yikes. That wasn't so great, was it? What do you think we can do next time? And the next time, and the next time, and the next time. Remember, friends, this is a practice. And if you've ever tried to master anything, it takes a lot of practice. There's that saying, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? 10,000 hours of practice. There's a time for strict discipline, and there's a time for gentle encouragement. In your practice, may you learn to discern the difference and keep going. End with a dedication of merit. And I just invite you to come back to your bodies, come back to your minds, come back to your hearts, close your eyes, and take a deep breath, breathing in, breathing out. One more time. Breathing in, breathing out. May we choose it all, and may it choose us. Bowing to each of you, Buddhas to be. Namaste.